everyone. Welcome to Toy Break, episode 307. I'm Aileen.
I'm George.
Oh, I'm Dave.
Welcome to the couch, Dave.
Thank you.
So great to have you here.
Yeah.
We'll get back to why you're here in just a minute. But in case there's any new viewers, we need to tell them what Toy Break is. What is Toy Break?
You tell me.
Tell you or tell them?
Tell them.
Toy Break is your weekly internet show featuring news and reviews all about the wonderful world of toys, including but not limited to designer vinyl, action figures, collectibles, plush, events, artist interviews, anything we can bring you in said wonderful world. That is what we try to do. Let's start, as we almost always do, by thanking our site sponsors like Dragatomy,
Tomatoes okay.
Suburban Vinyl,
Button Lab,
DKE Toys,
3D Retro,
and Happy Panda Toys.
Yay for all of our site sponsors. Thank you so much. They help keep the lights rolling. Please go check out their wares. Would you like to tell us what contest is going on right now?
Wares. Yes, it's the Bugbite and Pipsqueak contest.
Adorbs.
You can win this set of translucent yellow and glitter resin figures from Chris Reiniak and Amanda Louise Spade by heading over to the contest section at toybreak.com and post your favorite duo from history, literature, TV, movies, basically your favorite duo. Deadline is revised to June 4th.
Yes.
Now we
To
are
accommodate.
extending it to help you get your duo.
Is that because
in.
nobody's done it?
No, we've had a lot of amazing entries, and it's because I think more people have amazing entries and shipping times.
I think
And
I might
filming
have to
times.
enter it
It's
myself.
filming times.
Yeah.
Filming times.
Okay.
Things happen.
Yeah.
You know, that's how things go. All right, so instead of news today,
Let's hear it.
we have Dave.
Yeah.
Dave Bondi.
I
on
am.
the Toy Break.
I am the news. I am the news today. That's awesome.
I'm
Very excited about this. And then may I say, you guys are you seem like much more reasonable people on camera than like. No, I'm just kidding.
Wait, then we are in
Wow.
real life?
No, in real life,
that's fair.
you're
That's
like
fair.
weird and no. I'm just
No, it's
kidding.
fair.
No, but the personality thing, I think you guys really resonate on camera in a way that is. Sorry.
That's not what I hear.
Oh yeah, those comments. Yes.
Wait, what was it? George is an a-hole, but he's our a-hole?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really? We're
Yeah.
gonna go there right off the bat.
Yeah.
So
Couldn't help it.
tell us about yourself, Dave. Well, here's something we learned in our pre-show interview.
Yeah.
Pre-show meeting.
Pre-show meeting. You're a sculptor, obviously. That's
that
one
what you
of the, that's
learned?
one of your things you're known for.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that you were the one that sculpted the original Joe Ledbetter Weedy Wheat vinyls. I
Mr.
didn't realize that you
Bunny
did
and
that.
and Firecat, Teeter, the first miniseries, that first Kid Robot miniseries. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Those are
So-
pretty iconic designer toys.
Yeah, I mean.
Thank you for making them.
Well, it was like, I mean, it was a no-brainer. We were just kind of hanging out and just wanted to do it, and basically, it was kind of like I was saying before, it was like this rock and roll moment, where we were just doing this stuff because we thought, why not try and do it ourselves? Other people were doing cool stuff, like the whole first generation of like Baseman and Biscuit.
I feel like that's how a lot of toy companies
all
are
those
formed
guys,
in our scene.
and we were like, oh, they're so awesome, and so we wanted to like do our own thing and just kind of put it together. And I remember thinking, I wasn't thinking that it would be a very big deal. I just figured, the toy would kind of show up on Kid Robot's site and it would be one of like another 60 toys
Right.
on the site or whatever. And I wasn't really paying attention to it that much. And then Joe called me up one day, and it was like, that was the rock star moment where Joe was like, dude, Mr. Bunny's a hit. I was like, what do you mean he's a hit? He's like, people are just lining up like crazy. They're buying it like crazy. They love it. And it's like, and it was, and it kind of just took off.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a
And
lot
it's
of
all
fun.
been downhill since then, right?
It's just been downhill since then.
a rocket
It's just
ride,
been a
yeah.
roll
Chasing the
down.
dragon.
Chasing the dragon. They're like the
Firecat?
one-hit wonder. Now, where are they now? Archive, basically. Yeah, that's kind of where we've been relegated.
No. You have been doing so many other things.
Yeah,
Since
yeah,
then.
yeah. And I'm an animator, so I do lots of animation, and I do I do all kinds of stuff. I tend to follow my nose and do things that I think are interesting, which can be problematic at times because paycheck-wise, that doesn't pay the bills, But I'm lucky that I get to do animation.
It feeds your soul.
It feeds
Not
my
your mouth,
soul.
but your soul.
Yeah, the art. It's all about feeding the soul.
So you don't live off just sculpting designer toys alone.
No. I mean, it's animation is my bread and butter, which kind of puts a damper on the whole toy development thing. Although a lot of these guys are doing, they're doing like.
What I was about to say, how
Total
come you're not
Sin is-
doing more crossover animation stuff? With
like
designer
these guys.
toy artists.
Maybe people, but you have to be able to afford to do these things,
Yeah.
and then you also have to have rationale somehow for you have to have a business plan.
Yeah.
Like if you do an animation and it costs $5,000-$10,000 or something, how are you going to make the money back?
Right.
You can't. You could theoretically just throw it up on YouTube and hope that you get some kind of ad revenue, but I don't really even know what the
But are you
model
going to make
is.
$10,000? Probably not.
Yeah, so you got to always think in those terms too. It's like with an interactive thing, I could easily develop some kind of interactive app probably with my experience in game design and stuff like that, but how are you going to make any money doing it? That's the big question. So a lot of times something ends up just being a project ends up being so interesting and cool that you're just screw it, I'm just going to do it. We're just going to do it. We're going to plow through it and make it happen somehow, even if we don't know how we're going to make any money. So yeah, that happens.
I like that business model.
It definitely happens a lot.
Yeah, you would know, man. Yeah.
Good times. All right. So, but aside from that, there's some other iconic, I think, toys that you've sculpted recently.
Yeah.
Not for other people and
are we
for
talking
yourself.
about my stuff? Is
Well,
this
do you
the
want-
moment that I get to pull out my
Yeah,
stuff?
you want to? Well, yes,
moment.
please.
No, okay. Well, wait.
show us your junk.
Let's.
Not that junk. Not that junk.
All right.
That's a different show.
All right, hang on. The first thing we're gonna
Did
bring
you sculpt
out.
that junk?
Somebody's sculpted it. Is this guy right here? So speaking of
It might
stuff
not
I
stand on
sculpted,
this table because of
it
the
might not
softness.
sit at all, but it.
Here, I'll just kind of.
Yeah. So there's that, which is possessed, of course, by our good friend Luke Chu, who we all love, we all know and love. And Luke, this is the first vinyl toy that Luke ever made, really. Oh, unless you count Vivisect. Was that before Possessed? No.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was close.
I don't remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem is when you sculpt it and then when it debuts,
Yeah.
there's a gap in between
Yeah,
there.
there's
so-
quite a gap with Vivisect, apparently. That was, that took a while to come out.
So you sculpted the
I
Possessed.
sculpted Possessed a long, long time ago, and this was another one of those things where it was just there was this triumvirate of Joe Ledbetter, Luke Chu, and Thomas Hahn, and these guys were running around together all the time. Every show they would be at, they'd be hanging out and throwing ideas together and stuff. So ultimately, I ended up hanging out, meeting all these guys at Monkey King and wherever we were, kind of in the same scene and loving the same artwork and collecting all this crap, spending money on it. And so, yeah, I mean, I think I was working on Mr. Bunny first a long time before doing this. And this was a little different because it's more organic. Luke's style
Yes.
is a lot more loose and strange and different than Joe's. Joe's made sense to do digitally.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so that was kind of the argument for working on Joe's stuff was we were the curves and everything and the volumes and stuff can be defined programmatically with with 3D modeling tools really well.
Yeah.
So that made sense. But then when Luke's thing came around, we kind of the first pass on this thing was more Dunny-esque. The legs were, we were kind of, they were more it was perfectly symmetrical down the
Right.
middle, and there was no asymmetry to it or whatever. And the first one that we showed at Comic-Con was just a piece of crap. I mean, it was horrible. We ended up printing it at Art Center because we didn't have any other resources, and Patrick knew some guy who was the tech lab guy up at Art
Get it
Center.
done. Just get it done.
So we we ran up there, got it printed out. And it was this really crappy printer, and then we brought the prototype down to Comic-Con, and I remember being in the hotel room trying to kind of Luke was drawing on the prototype, do the eyes right here, and I had some chisels and X-Acto blades, and I'm okay,
Toothpicks.
trying to carve it out. It's this really brittle substance, and it just kind of fell apart and everything, and we were really, I was really embarrassed by it, but people were going crazy. They really liked it. People were talking about it, and they were did you see that thing in
remember
Monkey
that.
King's booth? And so apparently they saw past all of that stuff, but we kept working on it. It took 2 years, 3 years to come out. We kept
Wow.
tweaking it and stuff and working on it and making it better. And so, yeah, so I still kind of mess around with it. I have the molds. every once in a while I'd pour some resin in there.
So should we talk
Nice.
about what this is?
Well,
So
what
obviously
is- what
this
is?
doesn't
Yeah,
have a Luke
what's
head
this?
on it.
It
This
does
is
not have a
the
Luke
bear.
head. It's got Yoda. Yeah, it's Star Wars. Okay. But this is from a vintage hand puppet from the 80s, from like 82.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which Dove properly identified, by the way.
Wait, is it one of those that had like the vinyl head and like the cloth body?
No, he was
Oh,
all
I was hoping it
plastic,
was.
and it was like you could put your hand inside. It was all plastic, about that big,
Oh.
and you couldn't really make him
Sounds
do
sweaty.
anything. Like his mouth didn't move or anything. You just kind of like put him on your hand and kind of like, you know, make him move around and stuff. When I showed it to Dove, I was like, I'll bet you don't know where this came from. And he kind of looked at it and he was like, oh, that's the 1981 Yoda hand puppet by Kenner. You know.
Why am I not surprised
Okay.
at all?
Yeah, I know. So anyway, I love this head, and I cast it a long time ago, and I've actually been doing like that's a whole other thing we didn't talk about. Every once in a while, I do street art,
Oh yeah, we need to talk about that.
but not really. I mean, I'm not like a real huge. I do it just for fun. Like maybe every 3 months, 6 months, I get like inspired and I go out, and this is what I put up. I put these dudes up.
Oh, really?
Oh, I started anyway. I like put
That's
up.
not the only thing you put up, is it?
No, not these days. But when I was living in Venice in like 2008 or something, I would go and I would literally like stick these things up on poles.
How,
that's
how
where it
would
came
you
from.
how would you mount them?
Affix
I had a
Were
whole like rig set up with like this thing that held it on a bunch of PVC pipe, and I would like sneak out there, and then I'd like put a bunch of like flexible foam on the back,
right?
just like glop it on, and then basically put it in this thing and like run out, find a pole or whatever,
Right.
and like stick it up there.
Wow.
And it would just sit there, and eventually it would cure,
Right.
and I'd take the pole away. That would be it. But I was doing Bart Simpson,
Way too
and
much work for street art.
Bart Simpson, Mario, lots of Yodas that I put out. I don't know. They didn't stay up very long.
I was gonna say, are any of them
Yeah.
still
Because
there?
people
or,
like pull them down immediately.
People pull them down, and in fact, I have when I was at Comic-Con like last year, I think I was putting up the Akashi heads, right? And
Ben
Ben
got one.
our good friend Ben ended up finding one and taking it down and
He
like
was-
documenting the whole process on Instagram. I'm like, dude,
You know how
just saw-
happy he was.
yeah, it was a score
yeah.
because he had to climb on top of somebody else's shoulders
I
to
think-
get
yeah,
to
I
it,
remember
and,
that, yep.
and they like recorded the whole video of them doing it, like, "Argh!" And that's kind of what it's meant to be anyway.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I mean, it's supposed to, get people to have fun and
He was stoked when he
Yeah.
got that. He came over to the booth the next day.
That's
like,
cool.
"Look
Oh
what
my
I got."
God.
That's
We're like,
awesome.
Great, we have to work. It's Comic-Con. Go away back.
Yeah, right. So I've been doing that for a long time. The mold for this is like 6 years old.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
You're
and
still
it's
getting castings.
still
out of
getting
it?
castings out of it. Yeah,
Fantastic.
I tend to build them like this is it's got like a mother mold and stuff. It's
Oh,
not
okay.
just like so I built like I built a 2-part mold out of clay and stuff, and I tend to do that if I want them to last long. Like
Yeah.
like the heads for this guy. Note the head. See?
So, pull that back a
yeah,
little.
there's like back. I can't tell.
Yeah, back.
All right.
There you go, perfect.
Right there. All right. So this guy's got different heads. He's got a Popeye. Da-da. He's got. Here are the other ones. Ready?
I'm
Here
ready.
you go. Pass them
Oh,
over. That one, there. There. That one.
I'm keeping this one.
He's got that one. And that dude. Oh, and then I have two
Nice.
Rangers. Oh yeah, one's got the collar cut off because I wanted to experiment with that.
Which
But
one?
anyway, these are like super cool little pencil toppers from the 1970s.
So what do we have here? We have Ranger
Ranger
Smith,
Is this Boo Boo?
Rick Smith, Boo Boo,
Wile E. Coyote.
Wile E. Coyote, Daffy.
Daffy Duck.
Where's
Popeye's on
where's
there.
Bugs?
Oh, I don't
Oh
have
man, I don't have Bugs.
Is he in the box still?
Bugs.
No, he's
Oh.
back at the studio. Anyway,
Bugs.
so yeah, there's a Bugs also.
I highly suggest Wile E. Coyote because he's the awesomest.
Yeah, Popeye's pretty cool too.
I like the
Wile E.
Popeye.
Coyote.
Yeah. They're good sculpts. So you can even see on the back if you look like,
I was not thrilled.
check it out, 1976.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
So these were pencil toppers.
Yeah.
From the 70s.
Yeah.
That you.
I spotted them on eBay and I was like, those are awesome. I gotta have them.
Okay,
Wow.
so let's talk. This piece is
Anyway.
called Yoda Possessed.
Yeah, yeah. I made it's an edition of 20.
And
So-
they're probably all sold out by the time you're watching this. But
yeah.
if not,
go to my site right away. Buy it before everybody else does.
seriously.
No, there's a few. Few have sold already. I just put it up.
Fantastic.
I just put it up like 2 days ago. So for me, that's good.
And they're selling for $250.
Yeah. Well,
And you
it's just a
can
little
check it out at
signed and
davebondyart.storeenvy.com.
numbered, too. Yeah, davebondy.com.
And
Thank you.
the difference.
You're so well informed. I love that.
Let's just address the resin elephant in the room, because we know how much George loves
The
mashups.
Relefant?
the relevant.
I'm
It's
not.
very
I'm not
relevant.
addressing anything.
George has some serious problems with intellectual property
I'm not addressing
and how people appropriate it.
I think it's wonderful, and I think everyone should do this.
Yeah.
But I would like to point out that this piece is a little bit different than the examples that you've discussed before because Dave sculpted the possessed.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
and
you
I
made
talked
this.
to I talked to Luke about it.
And you
I
made
was
it-
like,
yeah.
"Okay, dude, can I do this?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure." In fact, it was his idea, kind of, to do the heads because he suggested I do something different with the devil.
Which I think totally works.
Yeah, it's awesome. I wouldn't have thought of it otherwise. I would have just made it with the devil head. So this way, people like if you get one, you can choose which head you want, and
Nice.
I'll cast it for you and send it off.
Nice.
Yeah.
So there's not a limited number of which head. You can kind of...
No, you can
create your own
play and
figure.
have fun. Okay,
So
onwards.
even though
Awesome.
they're one of, we just said one of 20, right? Even though they're one of 20,
There's only 20 big ones. but
there
he'll
could
make-
only
It
be
could-
there could
yeah.
only be 2 Wile E. Coyote.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or
Could be
less.
none.
Yeah.
What if... Has anybody... Oh, I wonder if there's going to
So
be none
far,
picked.
so far it's Wile E. Coyote and Popeye.
No Ranger Smith? I bet
Not
nobody's going
yet.
to pick Ranger Smith.
I don't know. This is a good sculpt.
It really is.
I
a
like
good
him in
sculpt.
person, but
And you know
I
what?
wouldn't have picked him online.
Since these guys were sculpted, and you would understand this, right? To be monocolor, they weren't supposed to be painted, so the
Right.
eyes are like cut in.
They work right.
Yeah, they work right for this kind of a casting. And you get the anyway. So yeah,
Very cool.
you don't mind the appropriation of Hanna-Barbera.
I have no problem. I think everyone should do whatever they want to do.
Oh come on,
Also,
dude!
there's also another difference is that these are not being produced right now.
That's true.
You can't get
Those
these
are
anymore.
vintage, man. Very, very, very hard to find.
I think that's a distinction.
And that just means you should be able to steal it. I think everyone should be able to
I'm
use
trying
it.
to rile him up.
I'm not getting into it.
He's
I
not
am
gonna-
not getting into it.
That's
again.
gonna be all over the forums, man.
No,
People are
not
gonna be
getting
like,
into
that guy, he doesn't understand.
I think it's wonderful.
He just doesn't
especially
understand.
if it's
Doesn't get it.
old and sold out. You should be able to do whatever you want
You
with
should
it.
be able to sell it out yourself.
Yeah.
Sell it, make
I am
money
not
from
getting
other
into it.
people's hard-earned work, other sculptors' hard-earned work here.
Not getting into it.
Some guy like really knew what he was doing though. I'll give him that.
They're really nice.
They are.
All right, what
cool.
else you got?
Anyway, yeah.
We got
So
more stuff in
let's.
there.
Oh well, this is for you guys.
What?
What? Yeah, absolutely. Are you kidding? For having me on? Yeah.
We got a box.
You got a box. Oh my
What
god.
boxes?
Yeah, this is super limited. There's only 50.
Whoa.
Oh, look at
It's
that.
George's
Yeah.
favorite color.
Is it?
Yeah,
I
green.
like green.
Especially lime green.
Right on. Yeah.
Lime green. I'm the winning team.
Well, he's supposed
What?
to. He's kind of supposed to have like army.
This
like,
is so
You know, like
cool,
army
thank
man
you.
colors.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Olive.
This is so cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I actually wanted to. This is perfect because I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you a question about this.
Okay. All right.
Because Sarah Jo had an Akashi head on Toy Break. Or on Toy Girls. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
on Toy Girls a while ago.
Oh,
And we
that
were-
was a while ago.
It was a
yeah,
while ago.
Yeah.
Go back and check it, youtube.com/Tucker.
yeah.
But we were talking about how interesting it is that, and Sarah has found that depending on what age you are, you kind of have a different answer for this
Yeah.
question about whether you see Mario or
Mickey.
Eyes are separate.
exactly or
Indeed.
Mickey first.
Yeah,
so
you can
my
take the
question
eyes
is,
come off.
obviously you're the creator of this figure.
Yeah.
What did you like? Did you plan for people to see one or the other first? Do you see one or the other first?
I mean, I was trying to like make it as difficult to figure out as possible. I mean, basically, you know, when I started doing, I mean, the first version of this guy I did in 2008,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a lot different. If you like Google him, you'll see he has like thinner legs, and the colors are kind of wonky. I wasn't totally happy with him. So, but then I did this version, and it's a lot better. I like him a lot better.
Yeah, he stands nice.
But yeah, I mean,
Stands
a
well.
lot of it was trying to achieve a balance between the two, and like, should I put the nose on, or should I not have the nose on, or should the ears? Like, I have different versions of them that are completely different. Like, they look totally different than this. You know, like there's one that has like really big Mickey ears and no mustache and stuff like that. But the idea was to try and merge them, and kind of get this sort of visual back and forth, like kind of schizo back and forth.
Like, what am
kind
I
of
looking
thing.
at? What am I
Yeah, where I
looking
don't know, and people have that kind of reaction to it. Actually, it's either like it's wrong, you can't do that, no, you know, or people are like, what the hell is that? You know, like you see that a lot. Like at New York Comic Con, people were coming by and like they would just stop and go, what? No, and they, you know, you can't do that, no, and then they'd like take pictures.
It's just
of it
off
and
enough
stuff.
that they're like, wait.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not supposed to be anything that's, I mean, it's a mashup, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that these guys have. I mean, it's because they bear a lot of similarity to one another, not just from a physical standpoint. Like they actually do look a lot alike, which is what kind of got me to start doing. Yeah, when I was looking at this Mario head, and I realized that if you just added this little button on top of Mario's nose, it would almost be Mickey.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and they're almost, the nose itself is like exactly the same size, like this part right here.
I think that says a lot about
not the tip, the
aesthetics
the
that
phallic
make something
tip.
popular in pop culture.
Yeah.
Obviously.
I mean, and did they think about that? I mean, how influenced were the designers by this thing? Is there sort of an
That already
unconscious,
existed,
like
exactly.
an unconscious undercurrent of exchange that's happening? And so
Yes,
that's what's
I think.
yeah. So that's what's kind of interesting to me is that they share a lot of features with one another, but they also share a lot of features from a kind of like a representation standpoint. Like they both are these. They're like the banner wavers for their respective companies. Like they represent the company in ways that are really positive, and like Mario and Mickey are both these kind of upbeat little guys, and they're like can-do guys. You know, they always try hard. You know, so they make these really great corporate, I don't know, sponsors in a weird way.
Both
they're
wear
like,
overalls.
yeah, they both. Well, they do. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I made it easy. It was a no-brainer, right? So.
What is the name Akashi? Like, what is that?
Oh, that's like completely nonsense. That's all complete nonsense. It doesn't mean anything.
Doesn't
right
just-
now.
Just came up with it.
It's not. I couldn't just come up with it, but I mean, I was basically looking for. I didn't want to call it Mickey Mario or Mario Mickey or whatever, because that would somehow
Marky.
Infringe on copyright.
infringe on copyright. Yeah. And at the time in 2008, people were really kind of flipped out. A lot of people were like, "You shouldn't do this, man. You know, you're going to get sued." And I was like, I kind of went like, well, okay, I don't really care. I mean, I'm only making 250 of them. Like, what's the big deal? So yeah, I didn't want to do that. And then I was kind of debating this with Kozik actually. And he was a huge supporter of this, by the way. If it hadn't been for Kozik going, dude, that's fucking rad. You know, I would have never made
That's good
it.
Kozik.
Yeah, dude, that's fucking rad. Yeah, basically. So I asked him, I said, well, what should I name it? I have no idea. And he's like, just make it something totally nonsensical. Just pick something that means nothing. Like, in all seriousness. And I was like, okay, well, I'll consider that, whatever that means. And I was just looking through Wikipedia, looking at different Japanese
Yeah, I'm
names.
serious.
Yeah, dude. Nice. And Akashi
50
was
years.
a famous Japanese general during World War II, and there's also a city called Akashi, and it's a common surname, and it sounds like Mickey, kind of. Akashi Mickey.
Now,
I
I
never
was
made
just
that
looking
connection.
at the box here.
Yeah.
And what is this?
Oh right.
The non-copyright
Nobody's ever
thing.
noticed that before, dude. You're like the first guy to ever
says-
comment
What,
on
really?
it.
To the
Yeah.
extent possible under law, the person who designed this work has waived all copyright
Yes.
and related or neighboring rights to this work.
Yes, yes, yes.
So what does that mean?
That is like, this is like a common, I don't know exactly where this is from, but it's kind of like a common standard to put on things if you're waiving all copyright
Right.
to whatever it is. So I guess, I mean, the point of that was to essentially say, look, if anybody wants to bootleg this thing and copy it or take parts of it and make more and do something different with it or even like sell it, they can go for it.
So
I
it's
mean, I
like the
don't-
Creative Commons law.
It's a Creative Commons law, basically, yeah. And I just wanted to put it on there because I'm appropriating other people's property, and
Right.
so like if other people want to appropriate my
Appropriate enough,
property, that's what makes property so interesting these days. Is that it's hard to really set, it's hard to set barriers on it. It's really difficult. It becomes a legal issue. It becomes kind of like a philosophical issue as well, and particularly with digital media. I mean, digital media makes things. You can make an infinite number of reproductions of something, and then does it still maintain its value because of that, or is it fair to really continue to charge money for something that you can just like press a button and copy? Like, you know what I mean? Like you can
Right.
just make an infinite number of these copies. So
Where does it end?
at what point does it end?
Yeah.
And at what point does it become common property? And these guys are like, I mean, the argument is kind of once you have a kid in Kenya wearing a ragged T-shirt that he got from the UNESCO or whoever is like providing clothes for them, from like the surplus of our society. Once that kid is wearing Mickey Mouse or Mario, then it's kind of like, dude, this is like a global icon. This is something that anybody should be able to play with and do something with. It's not like it's just,
It's so ingrained in
It's
our
been
culture
disseminated everywhere. It's
and
like part of the
society.
whole like thing. Yeah.
So,
Again, you know.
well, it's interesting
the
that
copyright.
well, it's
problem.
interesting that you chose to like this, even though you're kind of creating your own guy, a new guy out of two other things. You've chosen to open this up to anyone to do anything with now.
Yeah.
Like
A very good
take
new of
yours.
you.
It's kind of cool. Like, I don't know. It's kind of neat. You're not trying to hold this deer and be like, no, I created this new thing. Like this is my guy now. It's like, no, this is, you see it as, all right, this is two other people's things put together.
Yeah.
I shouldn't own that. Like, this is here. I'm gonna make this because I
Yeah.
want to.
Yeah.
But now this is everybody's.
That's
thing.
interesting.
Like,
I think the roots of that come from street art, actually, because when you put stuff out on the street, it's kind of like it's gone. It's like it's not you. You can't expect
It's in the ether.
You can't expect people to respect your work and not take it down. And
Right.
it's if it's gone the next day or if it's gone in an hour, that's just the way it goes. It's kind of like what I always thought was interesting about street art, particularly like the 3D stuff that I do, because like ripping a poster down is a little more difficult. You can just these things you can generally just kind of like yank on them on the pole
Right.
or whatever, and and it comes off. But I always thought it was interesting that the person who was taking it should somehow consider what they're doing. Like, are they like they're basically taking down a piece of artwork that was put up for other people to enjoy, so that they can take it home and have it in their own possession,
Right.
Privately.
And it's also something that I've sort of generously offered. And it's also, but then it's also this thing that I have put out there as a kind of like guerrilla marketing ploy.
yeah.
It's like me kind of putting my thing out there so people recognize the artwork that I do. Oh, what's this Mickey Mario thing? Or what's this Yoda I saw in Abbott Kinney? Like, maybe you can figure out who did it, right?
Right.
So there's kind of like a fun thing to that. And when you take it down, you're basically stopping the artist from having the promotional opportunity.
That's right.
You're eliminating that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if anybody ever really thinks about this, but I was kind of hoping that people would at least
I think they do, though.
wrestle with it a little bit,
I think people think about that a little bit.
Yeah.
I recall when Ben showed me the piece that he took of yours. Actually,
Yeah.
this is funny because I asked him, I was like, how long was it there? He's like, oh, I got it right away. I was like, so no one even got a chance to see it. He's like, well, it's mine now. Like,
Yeah, nice.
He actually did. He couldn't. He was
Nice.
like, well, no, now it's mine.
Yeah.
I
And I
got
put
it.
that
I got
thing
there
up like
first.
13 feet in the air, too.
yeah, and he got it pretty fast. I don't think it was up for very long.
It was at Bar Basic because, the Monkey King party was going on. So I was like, oh, I'm going to nail Bar Basic before the Monkey King party. But it was up all night. It was
Was
up,
it?
yeah,
Okay.
it was up for the whole party, basically, and they grabbed it at the end of the night.
Okay.
There's so
good.
many social implications to all of the dissemination of art that you've been talking about that I feel like we could talk about hours for that.
We could, what do you want us to do? We could go on about it.
We could talk about it more as we're looking at other things.
Yeah.
Let's
Oh, there you go.
Do you have more to look at?
Yes, I
Sir
do.
Bondi?
Of course. All right, so here we go. This is the latest, greatest thing I'm working on.
Look at this packaging.
Yeah, well, it's important because
Packaging's always important.
Yeah, this is very fragile and
Fragile?
Here.
fragile. It's Italian. All right, now I got it.
All right.
But yeah, I haven't opened this since WonderCon when you guys saw it.
We got a sneak peek.
You got a sneak peek at WonderCon. Okay, ready?
I'm ready. Show it to us. Show it to
It's
us.
gonna fall apart.
Oh no.
George, you want to do the honors? You
Oh,
want
great.
Yeah,
So
you
I
have
can
to, like,
break it.
No, man,
Resuscitate him.
you're like a fellow sculptor. You know how to handle these things.
Watch.
Yeah,
break
he's
it.
like cracks it open.
He also breaks everything he touches on this show. Are you
That
sure?
is true.
Does he really? Nice.
I break a lot of things.
So this is Astronocchio. Astronocchio, Mickey Mario, get it? It's like a whole...
I see what you did there.
Yeah, it's very clever. But seriously, Pinocchio, come on. And Astro Boy, that's a huge ripoff.
Totally.
It's a total ripoff. And
Can't believe it hasn't been done before.
well, I mean, did the makers of Astro Boy really like consult Disney or anybody like who wrote? I guess maybe the Pinocchio property was like common property at that point, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who
what
knows? Who knows?
the Copyright law.
Yeah,
Intellectual property law.
yeah,
Is Pinocchio one of those fairy tales that was already around and
yeah.
And
appropriated
so
by
you
Disney?
think it's
like-
Disney, but
Right.
it's not.
But nonetheless, I mean, it's still like they've taken the same story and kind of like changed it into
I was
their
gonna
own
say, I don't know
version of
anything
it.
about Astro Boy.
It's a Pinocchio
Pinocchio?
story. Yeah,
Okay.
Astro Boy is basically like he's a robot that's built by a guy who wants to have a kid.
Oh, okay.
You know, and he can't have a kid, so he builds a robot, and then Astro Boy realizes he's a robot and wants to be a real boy, and all this stuff. Anyway, it's basically the same
Pinocchio.
story. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is a mashup of those two guys.
Nice.
And it's a good. I mean, I really worked hard on this sculpt. Like it took me like a year to do, off and on, just to get all the proportions right and everything, and that pose, you know, that angle, and get the weight
Yeah,
just
like
right. Yeah,
a little bit of a curve.
yeah. And so he's pretty posable. You know, from like making vinyl, how limited you are in terms of articulation. It's hard to do like tons of articulation with.
I like the added the wooden articulated spots.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Those are really nice.
I'm
It's
glad
a
you
cool
noticed
touch.
that. Yeah, thanks.
Well, it's actually, regardless of your thoughts on mashing two properties together, mashing two things together is hard
Yeah,
to make it work.
to make it work. Yeah,
Does that
totally.
little thing open up?
Yes, it opens up.
What? No.
You didn't know that?
Yeah, I did, but I was.
Sorry, you're waiting for the reveal here.
I saw, but he didn't
This
see
is not
it.
very impressive.
Wait, I have nails. Do you
The
want-
final version. Okay, go for it.
Let me see if I can.
The final version. I was gonna do maybe different eyes too, like I
Which
did with
side
the
opens?
Akashi, but I don't know. We'll see.
Wow, I have nails, and this is.
Well,
even
it's
harder.
been sitting in my studio for 2 weeks now in a box, so maybe there's some
Wait,
kind
it's
of
like
sticky.
stuck under his.
No, you got to kind of lift it up under here. Can you get under there?
Somebody get under there.
We gotta see what's in there.
Well, you can even use like a little knife or something.
There you go.
Oh, there you
Okay,
go.
got it.
Yeah. So this piece is supposed to stay in. This is like a goofy design. It's
You
like
didn't see that.
It's like
Woohoo!
it's like guts.
Gear
Not,
guts.
It's not gear guts.
Gear
no.
guts.
Gruts.
Gruts.
Your
Yeah.
gruts.
That's cool.
So you can open that up too.
That's very cool.
And so we should mention that this is just a prototype and it's a 3D print.
It is.
Right.
Shall we talk about 3D printing?
Let's talk about 3D printing and
As
3D
you are mainly a digital sculptor.
Yes, because I got my start sculpting stuff for video games. So back in the day when when we were first making 3D stuff for consoles, you had to basically, you had to figure out how to make something with very few polygons. Like you had to
The
approximate.
minimal amount.
Yeah, approximate a highly complex character with like 3 planes.
Ugh.
Like stick them together. Like it kind of looks like Will Smith, I think. But yeah, so that's where my experience is sculpting things digitally. And now that this whole 3D printing thing has taken off, I mean, well, it hasn't really taken off.
It has, though. I mean,
But
it has. And it,
George, we were just talking about how when they've had them for like 30 years now. And
Yeah.
to people who do design, it's kind of like the 3D printing thing is no surprise. We're kind of like, yeah,
and not even just toys, but in any sort of manufacturing.
Yeah, and it's a rapid prototyping, basically. But now the prices really come down a lot.
That's the thing, is it's much more accessible
Yeah, yeah.
and widespread.
And the
Yeah.
quality of prints are a lot nicer
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
than
look at
they
that.
used to be. I mean,
Yeah.
this is. I mean, did you do a
Nope.
lot of sanding to this at all? Like,
None whatsoever.
yeah, like this is pretty amazing for like the level of.
Will you do any cleanup still on this?
Probably some polishing.
smooth it out a little
well,
bit.
yeah, depending on how I get it made. If I'm gonna do like another sort of run like Akashi, then the factory will do like a wax version and polish it up. I'll have them
Right.
polish it up.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of thinking of doing a ceramic version, which you can actually print these days in ceramic, and it just comes and they fire it in a kiln and stuff, and it comes back.
I
So
would love to see that, because we've never done any ceramic.
I'm thinking of giving it a shot. In fact, I'm kind of like halfway through modeling it so that it's ready for ceramic printing, because you got to hollow it out.
Oh, yeah.
If it's all solid, then it just like cracks and falls apart. So you have to.
That makes sense.
It's kind of difficult to do, believe it or not.
See, this is also another thing. You have to pick your material and what medium you're going to be making your end product in.
Yes.
While you're in the design phase, you can't just make anything and go, oh well, now I'm going to cast it in resin.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to make it in vinyl. Well, it doesn't. You got to change the prototype. You got to
Yeah.
change the original.
Yeah, it's been a hell. I
Design.
mean, I gotta admit, it's been a hell of a journey, going through all this stuff from the very first, things that we made. Take Possessed, for example, right? Possessed is notorious for having a sagging devil there in
Oh
the
yeah,
back.
that's
you know.
why mine over there is propped up against
They're
the wall.
they all end up in corners, basically. And that was one of those things where we were like, we didn't really know what we were doing, but
Hey, you tried something new.
we tried doing it. Like the wire idea was putting the thing on the whatever, the devil bear on the wire was kind of my idea. I wasn't sure it would work necessarily, but Patrick was like, well, let's just figure it out. We'll go to the factory and see what they think, if they can pull it off. And that's kind of what they came up with. Now, there are solutions to that problem, that we could have built into the manufacturing process, but we just didn't really know until they showed up, and then it was kind of like, oh. Yeah. But all in all, I mean, I can't complain.
No, it's still an awesome figure.
It's
I
still
love
amazing.
the toy.
Yeah, it's still an amazing piece.
You know what's really awesome about the best thing that ever happened to me about Possessed was that when I had the MakerBot in San Diego a couple of years ago at the Monkey King booth, this guy came by, this really young kid. He was like in college. And he's like, this is my first Comic-Con, and this is awesome. I came out from Wisconsin, and I'm in school, and I'm an industrial designer, and I love 3D printing. Wow, you know. And he was asking me all these questions about the 3D printer. And so I'm like telling him, blah, 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 yeah, this, that, blah, blah, blah. And then eventually he's like, oh, so you did vinyl toys. Oh, I love that. And I said, yeah, I sculpted this, I sculpted that, I sculpted Possessed for Luke, and he just his jaw just dropped, and he was like, oh my God, you know, that was one of my favorite toys. It's like the reason I went to school to become a sculptor.
Get out of here.
I swear to
cool.
God. I
Get
swear to
outta
God.
here.
And he's still my Facebook buddy. We still like chat all the time. You know, he's like, Dave, how's it going? I'm like, dude, how's school? Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
What's his name?
His name is Egon.
Seriously?
Yeah, Egon.
Awesome name.
And I don't even know. Like,
I wonder if Egon watches. Hi, Egon, if you're watching.
yeah, he might. I mean, I can tell him to check it out. So another name drop. We should drop names. Let's see who else.
kind of
can we
names
drop?
do you wanna
Oh, I forgot to drop 3D Systems for printing this out for me.
Nice.
And I became friends with the MakerBot dudes like 3 years ago, and they were really super generous and super nice. Keith Ozar was the marketing director there, and he's become a really good friend of mine. And he hooked me up with a machine and all this jazz. It was great. And then kind of left MakerBot and went to work for 3D Systems. So
Makes
now
sense.
it's kind of like, whenever I want to get something printed, I just kind of call him up, and I'm like, dude, can you hook me up, man? You know, and he's like, yeah, send over the files. And so, you know, 3D.
Sounds like back alley.
Well, he gets to have one for his desk too.
He
So.
could quite possibly
Exactly.
print indefinite numbers of these guys if he wanted to.
Much like we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
click and print.
One of these days, that's going to happen, and it's going to radically change the way that we get products for ourselves.
Although I really hope the food 3D printer never happens, because that was really disgusting for me for some reason. Did you see that video?
Which one?
They made a pizza.
They made a
on
pizza.
They made a 3D food printer. I forget. Was it NASA? I don't know. Somebody did this video online, and they filled it with, food subs. You have to have the
things?
food
Food goo?
goo, the food goo,
Yeah.
much like you need the resin goo or whatever building material you're making.
Yeah.
And they built a pizza on this 3D printer.
Yeah. It's
It was
doable.
kind of gross. I was just kind of like, I don't want to eat this. It's weird.
No. When food appears in a device, it needs to just kind of like, it has to do that Star Trek
Star
thing where it
Trek
just kind of goes
replicator.
and then just shows up.
Yeah.
That's as far as I'm concerned. If they can't get to
I
that
agree.
point, then don't do it.
Don't bother.
No, don't bother. I don't want to know that this gelatinous crap is going to show up through a
don't want a
nozzle
tube. Yeah.
and it's going to look like a hot dog. I don't care. Right? No.
Or do it behind a closed door.
Or behind closed doors.
And then when I see it, I'm like, oh, look, a
Bing!
pizza.
There's like a little bell.
Can we
and
talk
it
about
opens
toys
up.
for a
Yes.
second?
Oh.
I would like to
No.
point out, I do appreciate that you have an understanding of not only like what it's going to be when it's output, but how it's going to work and
Yeah.
the modeling that you've put into it to create like the actual, the joint work inside. Because I mean, I've worked around a lot of 3D models and a lot of people that work in 3D printing, and there's so many guys who are like, I'm a toy sculptor, look at me model this thing,
Yeah.
and then they output it, and it's like, first of all, everything is still attached.
Yeah.
You
Like, it's
haven't
not
done
broken down
anything.
at
Like
all.
you haven't broken it down for production. Do you even know how to do that? Do you
Yeah.
even know what a toy is? Like,
Right.
so it's cool to see like someone who has the knowledge of how things
The
break
technical
down and
knowledge.
what it's supposed to look like and how things work, and just, I mean, you could tell there's a lot of it in this. There's pieces here. I
Yeah.
mean, look at between the feet. There's
Yep.
like all the keys are in the right spot
Yeah.
where everything actually fits
Should I
back
say what a
like,
key is? Some people may not know.
the key is when you have one piece. It's a male and female.
What
It's
was
a
that
male
like
and female
again?
That
plug.
kind of thing. That's what's fun. Yeah.
That's how you get more toys.
That's how you get more toys. You produce toys. You just stick the legs together there, George. It's
Like a
good.
puzzle piece.
And
It makes
there's-
things fit together.
And there's so many
Yeah.
people that wouldn't know how. I mean, this is a lot of engineering. This
Yeah.
has to go together correctly
Yeah.
in order for this to go together
got
correctly.
it,
So there's a
dude.
lot
Yeah.
of engineering.
Thanks, man.
And then for the angles of things to work
Yeah.
out, that it makes it look good for where his hands are going
Right.
to be. And
I think you have to like puzzles.
It's like the whole 15-degree thing, though. Were you taught that? Like you offset the arms back at 15 degrees in a pretty standard way.
And that's what-
they'll always come up nice. So you can see, like, if you look at it from, I don't know, can we take it off?
yeah,
Yeah, that part comes off. If you look at it from the back, you can see like both of these things kind of taper down that way.
And that makes a good angle for it to come up at.
Yeah.
Well, look at that.
I mean, if you do it like straight across, then the arms are just going to be like straight in front, and they're going to bonk into the head and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's one of the benefits of doing stuff in 3D is that you can actually, you can create the pivot points, and test it out. So I spent a lot of time going in the 3D program, moving him around and posing him and going, it's not quite right, and then switching it a little bit so I could get it this way.
Was this hat a separate piece from the head?
It was.
And then glued?
How did you know? Because you can see the...
You could kind of see, like I could just tell where I would have done it.
Yep.
Or where a production piece would have been. So it's nice. It's a nice fit there.
Yeah, you can, if you pull on it, you might be able to get it off.
No, I'll leave it on there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But like that's where the plug's going to have to be.
Yeah, like so it doesn't have a seam in the head. It's going to look good there.
Yep.
Which also is why knowing how a toy is produced, how you cast it, how you pull it, how it's going to be injection molded or roto molded or however you're making it, again, choosing your material, helps you design.
Like some people would turn this in and it would be like, here you go.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, yeah, but how do you can't make that into a toy.
That.
Like you have to do that and then that.
Right.
So yeah, I mean it's cool to see that it's.
Possessed was kind of like that. We delivered Possessed as like this big solid chunk.
It said here go.
Yeah, it said here go. And then what happened was, I mean, this is it. This is what happened. The factory took the arm and like cut it, boom, straight up and down, like just straight through. And it just looked so lame because. Well, if you look at Possessed, his arm kind of hangs down and it's not a perfect circle. So you know what happens when you rotate something and it's not a perfect circle.
Right, then it's all off.
It looks all
off. There's a big chunk.
Yeah. So I was like, no, you can't do that, and saw the pictures from the factory. And basically I just went into 3D Studio Max and just did my own slice plane and like kind of figured it out. I kind of like worked it around and kind of figured it out and then cut it off, sent that back to the factory. Like, this is how you have to cut it right here, So now when you rotate the Possessed arm, it has this like
kinda
nice,
works.
yeah, it kind of works. But it didn't work before. It was like completely.
See, but it's trial and error. So even if you're practicing with your own 3D modeling, if you don't get it right the first time, that's okay.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
going to take a lot of trial and error, even for people who do this a lot.
Yep. And even the printing process. I mean, there's so much that can go wrong when you're printing stuff out in 3D. There are holes and there are triangles that are inverted and flipped, and there's extra vertices that cause big gaps in your print, and you name it. They're not at the point now where where people can just kind of like make a 3D object and press a button and then boom, it pops out.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we're getting there slowly, but it's still fairly. You still have to do some fairly technical stuff to get it to this point right here.
Yeah, we just got one, and I sent the test print out just to see how it would work, just to make sure before we send it to the factory, you make sure all the thing is good.
Yeah.
When we got the test print back, the shoe was attached to the leg, but there like that little spot in the shoe, like where you would see a sock, there was no leg in there.
It's
and I was
empty.
like, hey, forgot to put the leg in there. Like, that needs to be in there. So we had to go back and fill it and fix it. And so it's just little things that sometimes you don't even see it until you print it. So it's nice to be able to.
Well, that's where MakerBots come in, and the really inexpensive printers are super nice because you can put the file on there and check it out, hold it in your hand, and kind of go, yeah, that works, and then do the high-end printer for the production. That's what's so crazy about this. Like, if you can see, see how it's kind of stratified and they're like these little squares?
Yeah.
That's not the resolution of the printer.
That's your model.
That's my model.
Yeah.
Those are the polygons from my model. I should have subdivided this more before I actually output it.
The ones that you could see that are the actual resolution of the printer are the ones that look like the topographical map.
Yep.
And that's the printer.
Yeah, you got it.
So yeah, it's cool. It's a nice piece. It's cool. I got nothing. I don't know what to say.
The thumbs up, man. It's awesome.
Well modeled.
Well modeled from a sculptor I admire. That's the best.
Aww.
That's the awesomest. Yeah. And
so watch Dave's
fun.
site.
What?
Watch your site. You'll have.
Watch my site. I mean, my site is like this really goofy. You gotta flip them the other way. It's kind of like this goofy HTML like thing I threw together because I didn't want it to be complicated. I took my WordPress site down and basically just put a bunch of links in. So, I mean, there's a link to my store. There's a link to like Tumblr. There's a link to.
Do you post stuff on your Tumblr about?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
progress?
Totally. I mean, if the
then
best
watch
thing to
his
do.
site and go to his Tumblr.
If you want to follow me, go to Instagram. Instagram is the best thing.
Dude, Instagram's where it's at.
Yeah, it's.
And what are
it's
you on there? What's your name on there?
Dave Bondi. Look
Okay.
up Dave Bondi. It's
That's
pretty
easy.
simple.
With an eye with a little heart over the eye. Right?
Yeah, that's me.
Should we do some blind box?
We
Let's
should.
do it.
Do you guys know what time it is? Blind box time! All right, so today, what do we have?
We have
I'm excited about this.
Game of Thrones. These are the Funko minifigure. This one feels
I
empty.
didn't know it was Funko though. Now it's all ruined.
No. The Funko horror minis were amazing.
They were amazing. They weren't the quality of the regular Funko.
They're awesome. Okay, now I've actually already opened one of these on the Loot
What?
Crate episode. We just did a Loot Crate opening.
Okay, all right.
But that's we still got
I mean,
pick
you
what
gotta
we want.
like. Don't get me wrong.
Double bagged here
I don't want to be that guy.
for safety.
Yeah, you do. Be
Okay,
that guy.
maybe I want to be
Just
that
be the
guy.
guy.
Funko. They're making all the money.
Are you mad at them making money?
All
or
I
are
do
you-
is license-based stuff. They
Or are
suck.
you mad at the quality of their pop?
Oh, interesting.
What are you mad at Funko for?
I'm not really mad at Funko.
Okay.
I'm being
I'm not
like a
mad at Funko
hater. I'm being a hater. I mean, this is okay. So what do we got here? We got White Walkers. There's a glow-in-the-dark White Walker.
Oh, there is. I want Daenerys or a dragon.
I need a dragon.
Dragons.
Dragon
would
or
be
wolf.
awesome.
Yeah.
Dragon or wolf.
Of course, before we do this, we should ask one another which Game of Thrones character we are.
Who do you think you... Wait, who's your character?
Well, okay, we had this discussion when me and my buddies, when we were watching the first episode of season 4, I was like, okay, who are you? And people were like, well, I kind of feel like I'm Tyrion, or I'm, Cersei, or, and I was like, I think I'm Tywin Lannister.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I was like, I'm Tywin Lannister. My friend Alec was like, he was like, kind of in the back of the couch, and he was like, me too. We're both like, we have these idealistic kind of like, matter-of-fact way of looking at the world, sort of like that's just the way it is, and you have to like deal with it, and it's a big power struggle. And he's a banker, so of course, naturally, he's
I just remembered
Tywin.
that I did take one of these quizzes, and I got Cersei.
You got Cersei?
I completely forgot about that.
You got Cersei?
Would I? I guess that would probably be...
I don't know.
I don't know, is that fair?
But can you self-identify, George, with like any one of these dudes?
No, they're all. Everyone's kind of dicks, and they're all dirty and gross.
I switched over recently to the Hound. I think I'm more like the
Ooh.
Hound now. Yeah.
Did you see the Hound? There was a guy cosplaying the Hound at WonderCon. He was really good.
Wow.
Like,
With the whole like face burn.
yeah,
like,
he was really good.
The Hound.
All right, I'm opening. What'd you get?
I got sad Jon Snow.
Sad Snow.
Ooh, nice.
That's a good one, though. It looks like him. That's
It's-
a good.
it is.
It's a good likeness in cartoon form.
Jon Snow.
Adorable.
Oh, you got it. That's awesome.
Look at how cute.
Does he go with him?
I got a little wolf. Isn't his wolf white?
Which
His is
wolf
white,
was the
yeah.
black wolf?
I don't
Who had the
remember.
black wolf? I thought there were only white wolves.
No,
Oh,
one of
dude.
Aw, boo.
Another
double.
Jon
Oh,
Snow.
double snow.
Do we need to say
Completely
something
get double
weird to each
snow.
other now? Like, Jinx. Hi. Figure Jinx.
It's probably a figure Jinx.
Figure Jinx.
Look at how cute this wolf is, though. Now, aren't these better than some of the bigger Funko?
Yeah.
They're
I'll
cute,
give you
right?
that. Yeah.
And they're really well
Look at
stylized.
his little wolf.
It's cool.
What's
They
that part called?
they could
The
have done
hilt?
something different with maybe the paint job on the face. Maybe more features.
See, I'm okay with less features because
Yeah.
less chance to mess up
Well, that's true.
on the paint app at the
Yeah.
factory.
And the
So-
rest is like injection stuff.
This guy's just a little. Oh, he's got an injection tail. It's just too. But the rest of it's roto.
Oh,
like,
that's like, yeah.
it's nice.
I think this is cute. I think they put a lot of time, or it seems like they put a lot of thought into stylizing the figure
Yeah.
in a way that works
Yeah.
for the character.
I like it.
He's freaking
I
adorable.
like the Funko toy. I
It's
admit
okay.
it.
It's
It's okay. It's okay. I'm
There's a
Jon
whole
Snow.
support group
No,
for
I'm
it.
Jon Snow. No, I'm Jon Snow. No, I'm Jon Snow.
Maybe you have like season 2 and season 3. Jon
I've never
Snow.
seen a Valerian steel sword before. I've never seen a Valerian steel sword either.
Would
Give
you
me
like
a,
to touch
Ah,
mine?
let's touch each other's swords. Let's cross our swords. Ooh. All right, I'm sorry. All right, next. Moving along.
Stay on the Game of Thrones and do another one.
Yes.
So while we're talking Game of
Yes,
Thrones,
this is what I'm really interested in.
we only got 2 of the however
Okay.
many there are.
These were the first 2 I think that came out, were they not?
No, there was all series 1 came out at the same time.
Oh, they did?
These are the only 2 I wanted.
Oh, okay.
Who would you rather open?
Me? I get to open?
Yeah, you got one.
Well,
Tyrion.
Tyrion.
No,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, Tyrion. Daenerys is okay. She were a better actress.
She doesn't bother me. She had
Doesn't
some
bother you?
really good moments.
You don't like the
I
whole
think.
like slave white girl saving all the black people kind of save.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine.
All
I'm
I
down with
remember is
that.
a hot tub and her in a hot tub. I remember that,
Really?
or a hot pool. Yeah, I remember that. Season 1.
Season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember the end of season 2? I think when or 1 when the dragons were first born
Yeah.
and she was like all burnt like in the fire.
Yeah.
I was watching that with Fungi, my wife, and you know we were sitting there and the fire burns away, right? And finally, there's the CG baby dragon, which I was waiting for the entire season. I'm like, I want to see CG dragons. That's what I'm here
You've
for.
read the book, yes?
No,
No?
I haven't. I
Okay.
haven't read the book, so I didn't know, when they were going to pull this out. And she comes out like totally naked, of course, right? But she has the CG dragon on her shoulder. I'm like,
Yep.
yeah, the CG dragon. And my wife goes, aren't you looking at her breasts? Like, what is
like-
wrong with you?
You're like, aren't you looking at the dragon?
I'm like, it's a dragon.
I love it.
Ugh.
That's awesome.
There's dragons in this show?
All right, so this is the second wave of the Funko Legacy
Series 1.
Series 1 Game of Thrones action figures. There's a lot of names I'm throwing at you right now. What you need to know
Tyrion.
is Game of Thrones and Funko. So these are 6-inch scale action figures,
Ooh.
obviously based on the HBO show Game of Thrones, not the book Game of Thrones. We have Tyrion Lannister. So these are 6-inch scale. So because he is a little person, he is 4.5 inches. He comes with an axe and necklace accessories. And Daenerys is 5 inches, and she comes with a dragon. These both go for $20.
$20, huh?
They are collectible, ages 15 and up, all that good junk.
And who makes them? Oh, it's Funko,
Funko.
again. Well, they obviously have some kind of agreement going on here. Licensing,
A licensing type agreement?
licensing type thing. Yes.
What are you saying ugh at, George?
Her likeness is terrible.
Uh-oh. I'm gonna like tear his head off. just
Look
trying
at
to get him out.
how terrible her face is.
Well,
Really? That doesn't bother me that much. I mean,
it could be worse.
I mean, oh yeah, it could definitely
Yeah,
be worse.
I've seen much.
that's not as bad as
Well,
that.
But
do you-
that's great. Like,
You actually like this one?
yeah, look at him.
Check him out. What do you think?
Dude, he's awesome.
I don't like his beard paint. Looks a little pinched, but otherwise.
Yeah, his face
I mean, you
is
know
a
what he
little
is.
pinched.
You know who he is.
I choose as my champion, Jamie
Look at her left
Lannister.
eye.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You know what?
yeah.
Eye paint apps though are so
Eye
hard.
paint sucks. It's the
Eye
worst.
paint is, yeah.
It's the worst to
At
get
least
right.
it's there.
Yeah, I
At
know.
least it's not like a zombie eye with no paint.
No, it's fine.
Like that's worse,
It's
right?
so hard to get eyes right.
Yeah,
Like,
they're like-
I give him a pass on that. Like,
Yeah, you got it.
I just like I wish the face looked more like the girl.
I'm going into battle.
Oh, his axe is
I
rad.
feel like her cheeks are too gaunt. Like she's not a like super
This is
thin girl.
True.
Like she has human flesh on her.
This feels like styrene. Like the durometer of it is just
Like,
brittle almost.
yeah. We won't be chopping anything for real with
It
this.
feels. It's cool though. I like the axe.
Yeah, it's cool.
He's cute.
He's cool. I like
Now,
him.
apparently, the first wave of these from Funko, these are
Ooh, he's
were these
totally...
Funko's first action figure? It's their first like non-reaction action figure.
I think so. It's her first action.
non-highly
they had-
stylized.
They had a few quality control issues, and I believe things like legs were falling off.
Really, I'm doing my best right now to like.
This series, they fixed it though at the factory. Like they heard the complaints, they went back and they were like, "Hey, on this next run, we got to make sure legs are not falling, quality control's better," and they fixed it. And there haven't, to my knowledge, been as many quality control issues.
Well, he looks like he's pretty solid. I mean, I'm really
I think that's
cranking
cool.
on these legs here right now.
But I think it's cool that they were like, "Oh, we heard that you're having
check
these
it out.
problems. We're gonna fix it."
Look, his like shins even rotate.
Does he sit like that? I've never seen him sit like that in the show.
Well, I'm making him sit like that.
What do you think about the sculpt and the paint? And I hate that she has a big hole. I mean, I know that's where the dragon sits, but
It's weird because it doesn't.
when there's no
really
dragon,
sit-
there's just holes.
It
in
doesn't
it.
really.
Ah,
sit
there we
well.
go. Got it to Ben. Nice.
Oh, look at his little arm.
He's like, oh, oh, oh. Give me wine and wenches. Of course, now he's playing it all straight because he's got a real girlfriend.
Well, you gotta.
He's got it.
Spoiler.
Sometimes.
No. That's from season 3. Come on, dude.
Oh, her hair's really squishy. I like that.
It's good. I think they came out nice.
I think they're cool.
Look at the tiny dragon. Adorable.
The tiny dragon's cool.
Yeah.
And
I don't hate Daenerys. I know that the eye is off, but
No, it's fine. It's good.
it could have been worse. They could have given her like the the weird blue dress thing that she wears. This is more of like the original Dothraki, uniform thing that she.
like I'm Mother of Dragons. I'm gonna kick your ass.
Mother of Dragons, yeah. So you guys really haven't seen 4 yet?
No. We like to watch it at the end of the season.
Okay.
Wow, really?
Let me just say, there are a couple of zingers in there. There's a couple of good ones going on, and
Well, good. I can't wait.
Look, he's even got like his wrist articulates. So you could probably put that axe in, and it'll line up pretty well.
oh yeah,
It's actually pretty good.
Try it.
give it a shot.
I don't think it reaches to both hands, does it?
Jon
it short?
Snow.
Aw.
There's Jon Snow and
You're so short.
My buddy Alec, who has read all the books, by the way. So this is not a spoiler, but he theorizes that these two right here are going to end up being buddy.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, in the long run, that's the pairing.
That's what
gonna
we're
happen.
waiting for
That's what
George R. R.
we're-
Martin to
we're-
get to.
We're waiting for him
down
on
the
like book
sandwich
30 to get to. What?
He said to put down the sandwich and
Get the rice.
this is the next book.
Nice, dude. How many Instagram photos or like Facebook photos of him eating like big fat sandwiches
It
are
works.
people gonna?
Wow.
That's awesome.
The articulation's really nice
Yeah.
on him.
Yeah, you
These
can,
are good figures.
You can rotate the shins and everything too.
Oh, wow.
How do you
Yeah.
feel about these for $20?
I mean, I understand the price because that's kind of independent action figure price.
It's just what they are
It's
now.
just what things cost.
I think it's kind of worth it. Like, I like the...
It's
a
hard to
licensed
say,
figure.
like, because he's so much tinier. Like, he's the same amount of plastic, probably, though. He's bulky.
Well, how many did they make? How many are there?
2, 3, 4.
Or
The Hound,
limited
yes. Jon Snow, Tyrion, White Walker. Ooh, Ned Stark, Ned. How can you do that? I can't have Ned Stark. Come on.
You gotta have the freaking
But
What?
he's like
The main
what-
guy.
How long was he in the show? Really?
first series, first season.
For like half of it.
He's a pivotal character in
He
the
is a
beginning.
pivotal character, and he's also what's his face?
Bean.
Boromir.
Boromir.
Oh, Boromir. I thought you were talking about his real name.
No, he's also
It's a
Boromir.
lot of articulation on this little figure. Like, this is good. I like this figure. a lot.
Nice.
He likes it.
He likes it.
Mikey likes
He
it.
likes it. Hey, Mikey.
Somebody make a note in the Toy Break archive. George liked something,
Wow.
All right, give me something else. What else you got?
of the company that made it.
Here's a
More
quick one.
stuff. More stuff.
quick
Always
one.
more stuff.
Ooh.
Can I open one?
Yeah, are they all the same?
Ooh.
I think so.
Ooh.
All right, so
These are all the same. So here you
They're
go.
all the same.
Look, you even
wanna
get to
open
leave
it?
with toys.
Any. That's awesome.
do you want to open yours? We'll save this one. for a
go ahead,
contest?
open it. I'll
Okay.
open it.
Okay, well, where's this from, guys?
So these are from Toy Borders, from toyborders.com,
Ah.
AJ's Toy Borders. We've had the regular, there's been 2 series we've had on the show before. This is their latest addition to their lineup, which is Toy Borders Series 1 Surf.
They've had skate and snow.
Okay.
There were skateboarders, snowboarders, and now surfboarders.
So-
Surfboarders?
Surf Borders. So these are Army Men style. Out of the way, Daenerys.
Hey,
Everybody's down.
look at it. It's Venice Beach.
Where's the
Dude,
robot guy?
fuck you. No, my wave.
I like that this guy's got a bit of a belly and a beard.
Yeah, he's like hang 10, dude.
I feel like this could be me on a surfboard.
He's very laid back.
I would love to see you on a surfboard, George.
Wouldn't
Is that
have
gonna
picked
happen?
So wait,
no.
how many different guys have we got?
All right, so
'Cause
there's
it looks like
8 different poses.
okay.
And you get 24 pieces per bag. Are you
Yeah.
ready? $6.
Ooh,
That's awesome.
right on.
Not bad, right? So
Yeah.
these are in the style, obviously, of Army Men. And they have awesome little bases because the base is the surfboard.
Yeah.
So, they
I
stand.
mean, at that price point, you could have fun with these on the street.
You can melt them with
Totally.
magnifying
You
glasses.
can,
You can do whatever
all
you want
kinds
to do.
of stuff. Yeah.
There's a girl surfer. The sculpts on these are actually pretty decent too.
I mean, personally, I
This guy's
think
hanging 5.
these are dying for a Point Break diorama. No?
Look at him on the end of the board.
Yeah.
All sorts of different poses. This is
Ah.
cool.
They're
kinda
good,
cool.
right?
I don't know about the girl. What do you think about the girl?
Oh, I haven't gotten to the girl yet. Where's she?
She's right here.
I want one of my girls.
Okay.
No, I found her. Yeah, she's okay.
She's okay.
Isn't there a famous surfer with one arm? Like she got attacked by a shark or something. Isn't that
Yeah,
something?
I think that's a thing.
Isn't she a famous surfer? They could have made her. That would have been awesome.
That would have been awesome.
If these were really her boobs, they're very like centered and pushed up and high. Like that's not how boobs sit.
Especially not in a bikini
I'm just saying.
in that style.
I'm just saying.
Wow.
Just saying.
I think you're being a little critical of boobs.
He asked me what I thought. I thought I would.
Toy. Look at this guy's running with his.
I have no problem with any of these sculpts. I think they're awesome to play with your army men and your zombies.
So
Play with your OMFG.
so the vacation thing that I was mentioning before at dinner,
You mean pre-show meeting?
yes, in pre-show meeting, was potentially going to. It's like we're still kind of working on it, but it's a trip down to Baja.
Nice.
Yeah, well, my buddy John, who's like he's like a surfer dude from Venice. He knows all the cool spots, man, down there. So, yeah, we're gonna like take off with the kids and teach them how to surf down
You're
there.
gonna have to show
and
them these.
Well, I'm gonna. How many do I get to?
Whole bag.
We've mixed
take
them all up now. I'm gonna get.
Yeah,
like,
whatever's on the
more
table,
than-
take them.
All right, I'm gonna take a whole bunch.
I'm easy.
Excellent.
Should we do one more thing? Oh, toyborders.com if you want to get your own bag of 24 surfers or skateboarders or snowboarders. They're $6. Have them play with your other little men.
And
Other
this
little
is
army
like
men type
a
guys.
Thumbs
family.
up
Take those.
on these guys.
You're leaving the girls. You're like, I hate
I
the
don't
girls.
like the girls. They're okay.
This is a family business, right? These guys that
Yes.
make this, I think. Yeah.
All
pretty
independently
cool.
made. Very cool.
Skate, snow, surf. Oh, BMX is coming.
What?
Ooh, BMX.
That's cool.
Are those out?
I don't know. I haven't seen
We,
the
have to,
BMX
we
yet.
better go check.
so,
Toyborders.com.
so I guess the whole bike and everything's got to get included in the. That's kind of complicated.
That is pretty complicated.
Yeah.
Next, let's do one more
Speaking
thing.
of complicated
Ah.
bikes, let's do this real quick.
Walking Dead.
I'm assuming you also watch Walking Dead.
I don't.
You don't?
No. I have to limit my pop culture intake.
Well, have you heard
To
of this
certain-
thing,
Yes, I-
The Walking Dead?
Yes, I know.
Do you
about
want to
that.
do the other one because you don't know Walking Dead? Do you
Sure.
want to do a different one?
Well, what is there?
I'm gonna save it. We're gonna knock through this then.
Okay.
Boom.
What are we doing? Oh. Oh.
You've heard of this, right?
Yeah.
Let's look at this.
Let's look at
is
this
cool.
instead. You don't know
Nice.
Walking Dead. No point.
Okay. All right.
Toy Titans.
This is exciting.
This is exciting.
Yeah.
We know a couple of these guys.
You know a couple of these guys. Does Gary do all of his sculpts too? Does he like?
believe he does.
Yeah.
I don't know when he finds.
Wow.
This includes 5 Titans of designer toydom. There was 300 sets, one colorway. So I guess that's it.
This is
the
it.
one.
These are the colors.
And I believe we got ours from SpankyStokes.com.
Spanky
You can go to
Stokes.
SpankyStokes.com and pick them up. You
Oop.
probably could go to each site, I would imagine, but
Oh, it does
I'm
have
going to
that.
say Spanky
Love it.
Stokes since that's where this one came from.
Isn't that great?
That's cool.
That's a
We
great
could have a whole band, guys. Wait. Oh, it's high. George is like,
Shall we tell what these all are?
Yes, tell us.
Okay,
What
so
are
this
they?
is the Clutter dude.
ClutterMagazine.com.
This is the Rotofuji.
Rotofuji.com.
The Spanky Stokes Stroll Head.
SpankyStokes.com.
The Dragatomi Head. The Dragon.
Dragatomi.com.
and
And the Lulabelle
Lulabelle.
Monster
LulabelleToys.com.
thing. Monster guy.
Yay!
Yay, that's cool. I'm glad we
I love
opened
the
it.
art on the box too.
Yeah.
It's just so fun. Like,
So Gary Ham did a previous totem, the Monster Totem.
Toydom.
No, it was a Monster Totem, wasn't it?
look,
Or was it a Totem?
Space
It was a
Ticket's
Totem.
time. I don't know what it is.
So these are all interchangeable. Like you can use this with your Monster Totem,
Oh, they work with.
Yeah, you can, like, stack-
Right on.
stack different things together.
Excellent.
Yes.
Toydom.
Totem. It's a brand.
It's sorry, got to get it right.
Whoa.
So it's super cool.
Yeah,
that he made
yeah, I
these.
like it.
Limited to 300 pieces.
Yeah.
I think.
Are you giving this away, by the way, to your guests if they? I'm just wondering. I mean, considering that I got all these surf. I mean, I'd trade if you want. You can have the
I
surf
don't know. I
guys.
kind of wanted this. It was worth a check. It was worth trying.
All right. Okay. No,
These are-
I'm just kidding.
These are pretty rad.
They are cool.
I love the bright colors. I love the interchangeability. Because you can also just have it sit there and be like, I feel like looking at Spanky Stokes today on my monitor.
The thing I like about
Stroll.
this is what it does with like tying all of the stores together. I like the
Collaboration.
stores helping each other because the industry is so small
Yeah.
as far as how many stores are even left. This
True.
is kind of a cool piece that helps cross promote all of them.
Yeah, and like, how many are brick and mortar? Dragatomi and
Rotofuji.
That's it.
Lulabelle.
Lulabelle. Oh yeah, they do.
And now
right?
Clutter has a gallery now.
Yeah.
They
so
do.
So
right.
Spanky's
What's
actually
going
on
on
there.
there?
Spanky, get your act together.
Yeah, Spanky. What the hell? As if he doesn't have enough to do, that guy. Let's go, buddy. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, what's going on in the Clutter gallery these days? It might be worth mentioning.
Yeah, it just opened.
Yeah,
Right now is the Luke and Scott show. I
Right.
don't know what it's called.
it's called Bare Heads.
The Luke
Heads.
side is heads.
Heads and
in-
Heaviness or something
Heaviness,
like that. Is
yes.
that right?
Yeah.
And there's Tragus and non-Tragus and girl Tragus and other
Right.
Tragus
Right.
and Tragus minor and
Tragus Menorah.
Tragus minor.
So if you're in New York, allow me to take over here. If you're in New York, go and check out the Clutter Gallery.
In Beacon, New York.
Beacon, New York, which is not in upstate New
Not
York.
upstate New York, Luke.
It's close to Manhattan, maybe half an hour north, maybe half an hour.
It's
depending
probably
on-
half hour
Half
if
hour.
you're in a car.
Yeah. So if you're in the area, go check it out.
Fantastic. And I think this goes for about 50 or 75.
I
50?
don't remember. Maybe it's 75. Maybe it's 80. I don't remember.
SpankyStokes.com.
Go to Spanky's and check how much it is.
Excellent. We have a couple events.
Let's hear him. Heaviness?
Well,
Heads?
well, that one's already happening. That one's already going on right now.
Okay.
Did I
How-
jump the gun on that? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
No,
we're now
you're
into
great.
events.
Okay, all
You're
right.
just leading us
Perfect.
off into
I
our
just
event
want to
section.
like,
Pick it
give my
up.
friends a little support.
You have to. It's good.
yeah.
Well, coming up right around the corner,
Speaking of supporting our friends, support us and come out to Cool Mini or Not Expo. This is a gaming convention with panels, game developers, miniatures,
Ooh.
miniature painters, and sculptors in
Yeah.
Atlanta,
Oh, I
Georgia.
used to
He's a
paint.
miniature painter if he was a painter.
he's miniature.
This is in Atlanta, Georgia. It's May 23rd to the 25th, and it's CMON Expo. Come on, Expo, Cool Mini or Not Expo.com.
Are these like lead miniatures?
No.
Like gaming
Well,
miniatures?
I
Gaming
mean,
miniatures,
yes,
yeah.
gaming
But not-
miniatures.
not-
I
no longer
totally,
lead, really,
when I
but-
was a kid, 13, 14, that's all I did.
Yeah, amazing,
Paint
right?
miniatures all
Wizards.
the time. Yeah, you name it. Ral Partha, you remember that company?
I do not.
You don't, do you?
Yeah.
You do.
I
You're
was
just
really
pretending.
I don't know
No.
names of
Okay.
things.
I was
Super
really
aw-
into
the,
D&D miniatures.
the best sculpts from this particular company. You could
Nice.
always rely on them to like, and and I used to actually win competitions
wow.
when I was 13.
That's awesome.
There'd be
This-
like these old guys like meticulously painting their shit, and I'd bring in like 20 different crazy ass painted things, like moss on them and stuff, and I'd win, and they'd get all mad.
They have a competition here with like someone's
They do.
going to win
They have painting
best painting,
competitions.
and so yeah, it's going to
very
be a
cool.
pretty cool thing. And
But
there's going to be
aside,
a couple of go ahead.
go ahead.
I was going to say there's going to be a couple of panels that we're going to be on.
There's going to be a lot of panels,
There's going to be a lot of panels.
but
and-
at least 2 that we're on.
well, let's hear about them, Aileen. Why don't you tell us?
I will. At 3 p.m. on Friday, we have Tabletop Made the Internet Star. So, as per the site description, once upon a time, board game news traveled through circles of gaming, friends, private message boards, and random meetings at game stores. Now, media has become a core component of the board game industry. From podcasts to YouTube shows, the hobby we love continues to grow with every fan-turned-advocate producing original content for thousands of online viewers. With the help of Tom Vassell, the Dice Tower, Rodney Smith, Watch It Played, and George and Aileen Gaspar from Toy Break, we'll look at what it takes to become a successful internet personality, the importance of community, and how this coverage helps the hobby. I'm laughing at the famous internet part.
yeah.
The successful internet part, I mean. A Q&A session for those looking to get even more information from our experienced panelists will be held towards the end of the discussion. Yay, awesome!
Way to
Can't
go,
wait for that one.
guys.
Also, though, at
What?
12 p.m. on Sunday, Creator-Owned Pursuing Your Passion. This panel will cover creator-owned properties. Ted Terranova, designer Rivet Wars, and Aileen and George Gaspar, hey, that's us, Toy Break, will discuss how anyone can take their ideas and expand upon them. Utilizing technology, social media, and online communities, a creator today has almost unlimited access to the tools and support they'll need. Discussion will also include specific examples of this process, such as Toy Break's OMFG toy series and the game Rivet Wars. Woohoo!
Excellent.
I can't wait to go talk to everybody, and we're going to have a little meetup.
Hopefully, someone's
Toy Break
watching that will
meetup.
come.
I know several people are watching. Dave's watching. Hi, Dave.
Hey.
Oh, you're there too. Other Dave. Other Dave.
Okay, so I want to name drop real. Whoa, what is up? What is that, dude?
I don't know. It just came out of one of these packages.
You had to just like throw it up there, just like boom. Hey.
I know you were gonna say something, Dave, but here.
Yeah. Check these testicles out, man. Wow.
Go ahead. What were you
So
saying?
I
Sorry.
wanted to name drop real quick because remember I mentioned my friends the Loonies?
Yeah.
Because we just mentioned they might even actually be at this conference if it's a big
cool.
deal. I mean,
It's
like
growing. This is only its second year.
They are the Looney Labs people, and they publish games called like Flux and Aquarius and all sorts of card games and board games. Andy is a buddy of mine from way back. Like he was a game designer and programmer when we were working on the 3DO system, if that gives you any indication how old I was. Yeah, I am. So Andy, we became really fast friends. He's a genius game designer. And eventually, Andy and Kristen, his wife, who's a rocket scientist from NASA, they're
Obviously.
yeah, ended up forming their own gaming company, and they're like a huge deal now.
That's
They're,
awesome.
like, they're super successful, and in fact, we just hung out. This is an anecdotal story, which you'll probably edit out, but that's fine. We just hung out here because they were in LA for a gaming convention that was like at the Hilton near LAX, and so
That's
we were hanging.
Strategicon.
Yes, it was Strategicon.
I've
yeah.
been there.
Okay, all right, yeah. They were the guests of honor this year.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, totally. And so I went down to see them, and it was kind of like, again, it was like a mini rock star moment where they're like, yeah, we have a handler who's basically guiding us around and getting us drinks and things and hooking us up with parties, and her name's like, so-and-so or whatever. And this handler's suggestion was that we all go next door at the Sheridan or something and crash the Doctor Who convention.
Yes!
Which is what we did, because it was like Strategicon kind of ended and everybody like walked away with their little bags of strategy games and like, we're going to go home and play our games now. But the
No offense
but
to
the
anyone
Doctor
that's
Who people were like, they were ready to get it on, man. They were like ready to party. It was 8 o'clock at night and they're all like, yeah, they had all their outfits on, they're all drinking, and it was like really super fun. And Andy and Kristen have a version of, they have all kinds of versions of Flux, by the way. So there's like a regular show version, which is really cool.
Nice.
There's a zombie Flux, there's a
Wait a
pirate
minute.
Flux.
We bought Flux and played it, I believe, on the show, possibly.
I don't think we did it on the show.
We may have showed it on the show. I think we talked about it. Maybe
I
not.
think you may have
Well,
done
we have Monster Flux.
You have Monster Flux.
Monster
Yeah.
Flux. That's
Okay.
the one we have.
I have the
I
game.
knew we had one
Excellent.
of the Fluxes.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good game. Andy's he's a genius designer. So anyway, to keep going with the
Keep
story.
going.
So we go over to the Doctor Who convention, and it just so happens that there is a version, a test version of Doctor Who Flux in the works, right? Totally not. They're still talking to Universal or whoever it is who
course.
has the license, and they're trying to work it out or whatever. So it's not. It may not ever come out, but he had a test deck, right? So there's a whole gaming room upstairs where the Doctor Who / gamers are hanging out playing on various games. And the Loonies walk in, and the woman who's running the whole show, her like jaw drops, and she's like, "Oh my God, it's the Loonies!" Everyone, it's like this room of 50 people, and they're all playing their games and stuff. I want you all to stop for a second. I have to make an announcement. She's just like, I can't believe they're here. And so she says, the Andy Looney, who's the creator of Flux and so many other wonderful games, I'm such a huge fan, blah, blah, blah. And everyone's kind of like, okay, that's cool. And Andy goes, and he has this really like sort of Steve Jobs kind of flair to him. It's hard to explain exactly, but he's a real showman. And he's like, and he's wearing a lab coat because that's like their thing.
Of course.
And a tie-dye shirt and so on. And he's like, and in addition to being here to play games with you, we also have a prototype version of Doctor Who Flux. And everyone just is like, oh, does anyone want to play test this with me? And everyone's like, oh, it was this whole like, it was so much fun to see them, after like 20 years, because we've been friends for such a long time. And
They're like this crazy big deal. That's
yeah, they're
awesome.
like this kind of big deal. So it's fun to see them be successful.
Oh, I love that. Yay.
Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to provide some more.
So go to Target, get your Flux games.
Get your Flux games.
There's
and
actually a
Check it
really,
out online.
It's a really fun game.
Yeah.
It's super simple in its concept, but then it's super not simple anymore. Like it's like as you're playing it, the game just gets more complex.
You're
and
like,
you're
yeah,
like,
it's
oh
gonna
my
be easy. And you're
god!
like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's the game of ever-changing rules.
It's really
so
cool.
as you play the game, the rules constantly are changing, and you have to kind of strategize. To be honest, Flux is a little bit beyond me.
No.
It is.
No.
It is. I can't do it I'm not very good at it, and maybe the problem is I'm always playing with Andy.
That's not fair.
He humiliates you with whatever you're doing. You're like, I don't know. I guess I'll play a keeper. That's always a good bet, right? And he'll be like, well, just show me your cards. Just show me your cards. What do I do, man? Oh, he's like, well, you should probably, you know.
Well, that's why you're losing.
Yeah.
You're showing him your cards.
I mean, I went over, Andy has like a game night at his house that he's been running for 15 years. Every Thursday night, an exclusive group of people get to come over and play games.
Fancy.
And so, yeah, it's fun. And this one night I was in D.C. I happened to be in Washington, D.C. They're from Maryland, just north of D.C. And it was game night, so I had to go over. And they were playtesting a version of Flux mixed with poker. So it was like a Flux deck, but it had like all the the regular card labels in the corner, so like 7 of hearts, whatever, in the corners of the Flux deck. And somehow they were like mashing the rules together and playing poker and Flux at the same time.
That sounds complicated.
I was completely blown away. I just I put my hands up. I'm like,
You're like, does anybody need a drink?
I'm sorry.
That's what I'm going to do.
I'm sorry,
I'm
I
gonna
can't
go
even.
get a
Yeah, forget it. They're serious.
That's awesome.
They're very serious about gaming. Yeah.
Well, we'll have you back on, and we should play Flux sometime.
Yeah, and I can bring other stuff too.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'll bring some games and.
Please come back. Do that
Okay.
again.
I'd love to.
Well, let's finish the events real quick.
Okay. Long Beach Comic Expo, celebration of comic books and pop culture at Long Beach Convention Center in Long Beach, California, May 31st and June 1st. LongBeachComicCon.com.
And not long after that, the world's greatest one-of-one custom toy show. I have high expectations with that name.
Yeah.
Group custom toy show, curated by Johnny KMNDZ Rodriguez.
Yep.
At the Center for the Arts in Pomona, California on June 14th. You can go to facebook.com/one-of-one-show with the number. Just click the link in the Toy Break show notes. I should also mention there's a thread on the Toy Break forum for the meetup in Georgia. So if you have a suggestion on if you're going to be at the con, come tell us. If you're going to be in Georgia, tell us. Even if you're not going to the con, let's meet up for dinner. Tell us where we should eat.
But come to the con.
Come to the con.
Somebody should be sitting in those panels, I hope.
At some point
I want
during
someone there.
Please.
Even if you're not at the con, at some point,
crickets.
I don't know what day. I'm guessing maybe Saturday. We're big fans of puppets, obviously. They have the Center for Puppetry Arts is in Georgia, and we've been before, but we are going back again because it is awesome. So maybe you would like to join us there. That's it.
Let's wrap this show up.
Yay!
Let's
Thanks,
do
guys.
it.
It's been fun.
Don't forget, you can save money. You can too if you want.
All right.
You can save money with Toy Break coupons online. You can check the show notes at toybreak.com for complete details as well as links to pretty much everything we talk about. You can also watch past episodes. You can join the contests and the discussions in the forum. You can support us by doing what you do every day, which is shopping on Amazon. Just click the Amazon link on toybreak.com. Do your shopping as normal. You can also call and leave us a voicemail at 818-AM-I-GOOD. You can email us, info@toybreak.com. Follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/toybreak. You can check out our toy briefs, our toy girls, our full episodes of Toy Break, and perhaps some more new content soon at youtube.com/toybreak. Wink, wink. Keep an eye on that. You can also follow us on the social medias. You can follow us on Twitter at Toybreak. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Aileen Gaspar.
At George Gaspar.
At Dave Bondi.
And your website again is?
DaveBondi.com.
And any other sites or things you want to throw out there?
That's it.
Just go to DaveBondi.com. It's all there.
Dave Bondi, it's
Linked.
easy.
Just type in Dave Bondi.
I've always been very possessive about my name and the internet. So I've always I grabbed my name in the 90s as a website. I just whenever new media pops up like Kick or I don't know any new app or whatever, I'm always like Dave Bondi. I grab it right away. In fact, I have for Twitter I have @Bondi, which actually kind of sucks because there's a beach in Australia called Bondi Beach, and so people are constantly going, I'm at Bondi, and I get all these messages all the time where it's like, hey, you were mentioned in a tweet. I'm like, no,
that was a beach.
It was a beach.
Life's a beach.
Yeah. So anyway.
Should have had that Dave Bondi.
Yeah, I got that actually
Okay.
also. So
But that's what you use now.
I use both.
Oh,
Yeah,
fancy.
Yeah.
One for porn, one for not.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Teasing, I'm teasing.
Although there must be a lot of good shots of chicks in bikinis at Bondi.
Yeah, it happens. Is every once in a while I click on it, I'm kind of
course.
curious.
You're you're putting a silver lining
Yeah.
on the cloud. I like it, George. Look
Have
at you,
have you
positive
ever
George.
worked in the adult industry? By the way, I'm kind of. No.
What does that mean?
I have a project I'm working on that has an adult industry connection to. I'm not at liberty to talk about it, but it's been
Yes, of
fairly
course.
interesting. It's just to pique your curiosity.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
curiosity is aroused.
Let's just say
Okay.
let's just say it's peaked.
It's peaked. Oh God.
And that is it for Toy Break. Episode 307. Thank you so much, Dave, for being on the
Thank
couch.
you.
Please come back.
I had an awesome time. Thanks.
Thank you guys for sticking with us and watching, and we will see you next week. Same toy time, same toy channel. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.